And we should be live. Go ahead, Alicia.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Yay. Okay, it's so nice to just see you once again for another bi-weekly chat. It's been a minute since the last one, so I'm just really happy to have our co-host here, Fesk. Nice to see you again. If you're not familiar with Fesk, then where have you been?
Okay.
Um, because because he's my alter ego here at Heal the Deal. And then we have two amazing guests today. So we have Billy Catherine in the place, one of my really good friends, and an amazing female artist and voice in the NFT space. And then we have our guest Adam Spizak. How do
Yeah.
I pronounce that? Spizak?
Isaac is good. Spizak. Probably Spizak, yeah.
Spizak.
Yeah.
Spizak.
Probably,
I love that.
Probably,
Yeah,
dude. You should
that's not
already
bad, yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, I know. I always joke because I don't really pronounce my name originally since probably 20 years.
Wow.
Okay.
So, yeah, so it's kind of, Spizak is okay, yeah.
So
Okay.
flexible.
And I am Alicia. You can call me Mala or Alicia or whatever you want. So it's fine. So nice to meet you, Adam. We never actually spoke together. So it's really nice to just meet you. Fesk introduced me to your work, and it's been just a pleasure to just see about all of the universe you've built for yourself. And I just feel like it's really interesting to have that kind of diversity in our guests, and every single week that we do these chats, because it just shows a lot about how the topics of mental health and just general feelings and emotions and struggles just hit everyone, like regarding of your gender, of your beliefs, etc. So it's really nice to have those eclectic minds and souls. So thank you for joining us on the third one. I know I mentioned that it was the fourth one, but it's not. It's the third one.
Lucky number
So-
3.
So when I say something on Twitter, do not trust me, because I do not trust myself anyways. But so for those of you who aren't familiar with what we do on these live stream, recapping for our audience, we just usually start by talking about what we've been experiencing for the last few weeks, months, days. We go around the topics of our struggles, but we can go also onto more personal details of our lives that also affect us and affect our work as well. And then we can just hope on a more chill conversation. So if anyone has a question in the chat or just wants to add something, you can just feel free to do so, and we will be happy to just involve you in the conversation as much as we can. But for now, I would love to start with our guest and just ask you this simple question. So how have you been feeling, and how are you feeling, and what has been on your mind lately? So Blake, if you want to start answering that for us.
Yeah, I mean, physically and mentally been doing really good lately. I feel like the first I feel like all of COVID and to like literally 2 months ago was just wild for me, and both the physical, mental, dietary, everything restraint like was out the window, all that jazz. And then I definitely overworked the whole time as well. So around, I don't know, end of May, beginning of June, I kind of took an unofficial, my clients hated this. I kind of took an unofficial month off and just kind of fed the soul a bit for 5 weeks. Or it was like, I'm doing the bare minimum, but like I had no big projects or anything. And I was just pushing stuff off or saying no to things to really recalibrate, because it was getting to a point where I was trying to even just make a personal piece and I couldn't. Like I was like, it felt like it was my first time opening the program again. And I was like, oh, then I just can't. That's fine. But now I feel awesome. Like that 4 or 5 weeks of like working extremely part-time and taking a couple weeks off here and there when I could was just super fantastic. Feel like an Energizer bunny, like super ready to go hang out with folks again safely. Woohoo. And like create artwork and all that jazz. So I'm gearing back up into, this is probably my first like full-time week back. In about 6 weeks at this point, and fixing to head into a busy season, but feel like super positive and ready for it. So it's been good. It's very optimistic right now.
Amazing. Is it the first time that you, like, I'm curious, like, what's your pattern in terms of like taking breaks, like in the summer or something? Like, is this something you do every single year, or did you feel like this year was you were in a specific need to have that time off, because I feel like sometimes it can be like really random. So I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, no, I definitely am. I like definitely praise work-life balance, and with exceptions to, because we all get them, 1 or 2 to 3 projects a year where the work-life balance has to kind of be sacrificed a bit because of whatever the rush is or the holiday season madness, etc. I'm pretty damn good at maintaining that, even if there's a bit of overtime. But this was the first time where I was like, oh, I'm not traveling anywhere exciting or anything like that. I'm just taking time off, and I need to because I don't even know how to look at a pixel. So clearly I need to do something to change myself. So this was like the first time where it was like a conscious like baby sabbatical, because I was still checking in on email, but it was just no hard deadlines and nothing like that.
That's amazing. Like that's such an incredible feeling to just not have like deadlines or something. I feel like sometimes
and now it's over.
Yeah, I feel like
now
sometimes it doesn't even feel real. Yeah. I mean, it's good while it lasts, I guess. This is definitely something that feels unreal sometimes. But hey, I mean, that's great for you, and you feel rested. Like you look rested, and you feel you look really great. Like I say that because we know each other, and you feel just like I can feel your energy, and it feels great to see you like that, because I know that you've been into a lot of things with all of your jobs over the past few months, and you had a lot of pressure, a lot of collaborations, a lot of just everything happening all at once. And being like one of the how could I say that, like one of the more viewable and heard female in the industry, I feel like you're such an important role into this community, that everyone kind of relies on you somehow in a way, but it also comes with a cost as well, I assume. And I feel like this is important, that you're taking that time to just recenter on your own life as well, because I know you, girl, and I know it's difficult sometimes. So I'm just really glad to see you like that. And I would like to take some time as well to ask Adam, because as I'm not familiar with who you are and what you're feeling and what's your mindset and what you're all about, I'm just really curious to know how you've been feeling, and just learn more about you in general, because I feel like whenever we have male voices in those chats, it's also really interesting to hear about that vulnerability coming from them, because we always assume that vulnerability is something just a female stuff. And I'm always super just happy to hear about males opening up about their struggles, etc. So it feels really great to even see someone that you don't really know about, to just like open up on something is just unbelievable for me. Like I would never have believed that if you have told me about it like 6 months before. So go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of funny because like the last 6 months since the NFTs, maybe slightly before that, was a bit crazy. I never worked on commissions, like ever, not even one day in my life before. I did obviously some freelance work, but it was always a side gig to my main job. So I had a day job for the last like 20 years almost, right? Or 15. And it was always in corporate. So the last year or so, I quit my job in a very good company that I thought I'm going to be a director in at one point, like all that stuff in consulting. And I was thinking, and I think like maybe 18 months ago, I kind of went like, what, I'm going to start like as part of like my anxiety kind of thing, I'm going to go back doing art pretty much daily. And it was a kind of a very conscious decision. So I was like, okay, I need to like start working out, and because I have a very like kind of, I would say, almost paralyzing anxiety for most of the day, especially if I don't have a routine that I can follow. I tend to then start like, I don't know where I am exactly in this space. Like if I miss a workout, I'm like, shit, something's not right with the day, like I need to have something. It's like it's missing now. And it was really, so it was the thing was like, I was like, okay, I need to start doing stuff, and I was getting depressed and like I was liking my work, my day job. I was like, it's not really going anywhere. And I'm like, the team is great, but I'm just sitting there now, kind of writing guidelines and sending emails. And I was like, that's really not yet this time for me. Like, I'm not that old yet. I need to do something more with it. So I kind of went back to it. And as I got into it, that's where kind of NFT had that second wave, like with the everyone kind of jumping on super rare and like that's that side kind of blowing up. And then I was like, okay, this sounds good. So I got into this, and I didn't really think twice. And obviously, like I was still kind of on the in my notes of my day job, and then I got into NFTs, and then we kind of said, okay, we should move countries, again. So we with my wife we decided to move to Portugal. So the last 3-4 months was just the logistics of packing a whole house with a couple of dogs and like getting that organized. And then I signed up for this collab project that I'm working on for a nature theme NFTs. And I overestimated how much I can do in that time between, packing, preparing, and trying to help as much as I can with this. Then doing other jobs and trying to do some drops to actually pay bills, and then do a big kind of render which I would say almost a quality of work that I never tried to do in that time, because I think you go, okay, I can do it, a couple of days here, and this slips, and I go bed till 4 a.m. I wake up at 9, I do this renders where I sleep, and then obviously one thing falls, and then everything falls, and you're like, okay, this is behind now, and it's so the last couple of months was pretty crazy, and I really feel like no one would get hurt if I would say no to some of those things. They would be there, in October maybe, or even September, sooner. But I didn't. I was thinking, oh, it would be I was like, that'd be so great if I get this out and then we move, so we have a buffer, in case we need to get set up at a new place and you don't know what's going to happen. And I have no idea about anything in Portugal, so I was like, there's going to be a lot of learning for us. We have to do stuff. So we literally just we arrived here 5 days ago. So this is the Airbnb that we're staying at before we find the house. So we're just in Lisbon right now. So it was a bit of a mix. And then obviously as I was going through that idea of okay, we're packing the house, we're doing this. That's where the NFTs also became very bumpy, and suddenly things went flat for everyone. And I was like, well, that's not very good, is it? And then there was no new commission work coming in, because I was trying to reconnect with some of the people that I knew from back in the day, from Depthcore and those times, to kind of see some of the agencies that I can work for. And I was like, oh, this is not very good. So there was a moment where I was like, wait, did I make a mistake? Should I have stayed in my day job and just because it was so nice and cozy, no one was bothering me, and I work with the East Coast, so I would sleep out until 10 a.m. and then start my day at 1 o'clock, and and then do some work. And my boss was super easy, so I was like, have I made a mistake? So but now things are getting a bit better again, and I think it's just you have to kind of push through. There's those periods where you almost have to focus on that first thing in front of you, not whatever in the month or whatever, just what's for this week, what can I do this week or next couple of days, and then it does really help me. And I did it. I mean, it happened to me before in the past, but I was just focusing on that one thing means I can compete this. If I can compete this, that's less chaos, there's one piece of that break out of chaos is taken out, and then you kind of suddenly feel okay, I have some footing again, and now I can just maybe take a breath, So sorry, it's just so long, but I'm good. But it's just it was a very the last week or so was just crazy, especially if you guys know traveling and then traveling with dogs can be. I think it's easier to get a permit for a gun on a plane than to get a dog on a plane, because it's just borderline impossible. The amount of paperwork we have to do for dogs that are just registered since they were born it's silly. And then my wife was dealing with most of it, but then there was this falls and then this falls, and you have to organize your flight, and you want them to be on the same flight, and it's just it was a moment. We had that moment where we were on a train, we went to see the vet, and we were just sitting in silence, because it was just anything that you say could break us in half, because we were okay, we have to just let's get to the vet, let's get this done. So it's but now it's just last couple of days was awesome. People in Portugal, and especially in Lisbon now, we met so many people that are just so chilled, and everyone's so nice. So we were just like trying to like take it easy. And I had like this kind of secret drop that I did last week that kind of went decently as well, which, big thanks to the collector as well. And that suddenly went me like, okay, we're okay, we're still afloat. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
It seems like you've been going through a lot. Like that, not going to lie, like I would be freaking out if it just was me doing all of that.
Yeah.
I know the place where you're coming from, because I myself like moved in Canada the day the border closed, some March 16 from 2020. Right. So it was really stressful as well. And I know that moving country and just destination in general is so stressful. And especially when you're traveling like not on your own, like with your wife, your family, your dogs as well. Like that is so stressful. And especially having work on the side and just trying to just like manage everything all at once, that is a lot. So I'm just really grateful that you're actually here tonight with us.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because that
you made it.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know about that.
Just alcohol, just alcohol. That's
alcohol.
That's
there you go.
At the end of the day,
With travel, definitely.
Yeah.
No, but it's like so amazing to see that you've made it, and I'm just grateful that we catched you. We caught you at the great time to just have you there. So I feel like you've been going through a lot, but I just hope that it's going to settle down. And you were mentioning a lot of things about mistakes as well, and I feel like that's something really relatable for a lot of people in our community, because we've seen so many people just quitting their day job, just like going full time into NFTs. Maybe they did that like at the peak, maybe in February, but now they're just like thinking about it as a mistake, and some of them just did it like right before the market just settled down. And so I cannot imagine like the anxiety that comes from that, because I didn't have a day job before. Like this has always been my day job, and if you've been freelancing for many years, you know that it's always a gamble. Yep. So I feel like freelancer were kind of already prepared for the gamble of it all, and just like being just feeling insecure about the whole aspect of just NFTs and market in general. But when you come from a place where you had that security, that just also helps you to have less anxiety, because like when you're secure and comforted into a situation, you're just more inclined to just experience less anxiety just about the fact that of losing your job or something. So yeah, I feel like this is something that needs to be addressed as well, because I don't want people to think that they did a mistake, because if you did that, it was because you trusted your gut and your instinct in general, and those things, that they generally they do not lie. You might think that sometimes you made a mistake because of something that didn't went the way you expected it to be, but actually the more you will dive into this experience, the more you will see that perhaps after that mistake there will be like a new up, and then there's going to be a new down, and it all leads to those things that were meant to happen. But in order to get there, you have to face some bumps on the road. So I just know that sometimes it's just scary, because you don't want to face those bumps, but you have to. And it's difficult, and this is why people are here to support you and just like push you through it as well when you cannot do it yourself. So I feel like it's really brave of you to do so. I haven't talked like that in depth about people quitting their job for NFTs or something. So I feel like it's interesting to have an insight on that.
I would love to.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
I was going to say, I've been freelance for 6 years now, and I love it. But one thing that I loved about being prefaced before making that decision was someone telling me, there's high highs and there's low lows, and you really need to be prepared for that. And you can have the best year of your life, and then you can have a year where you're going to be the bottom tax bracket possibly, because you just crash year because the work's not there. It's not a reflection of you. And that's where the whole conversation for freelance, not NFT quitting, is have the 6 months saved up, blah, 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 et cetera, safety net. And with the NFT stuff, I've had a couple younger or, lesser experienced folks come my way asking about, I have really great income and savings now. Should I do this? And I say the same thing. I'm like, it's exact same. But the only difference is with freelance, your high highs and low lows, you're still bound to a client and you're still bound to like a more traditional structure. Whereas with NFTs, you're your own boss. And if you do not have that project management inside you, if you do not have that self-discipline, you're not ready for that jump. And that's not talking about a creative rut. That's its own thing. That's not talking about, some weird family event that happens. That's talking about the day-to-day normal lifestyle. Like you need to have that discipline or you're not ready for either of those choices.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to touch on Adam's point, that he mentioned that like right after quitting his regular job, he had like a kind of down, like a period that NFTs kind of went down, and like that's a bummer on our did I make the right choice? And almost the exact same happened to me like last year when I decided to quit college and pursue art full time, right? Because I was in college for software engineering, like super safe career. I had more than enough opportunities as a programmer, right? But then I quitted that. And I remember that 2 weeks after quitting college and pursuing do you want to say something, Alicia?
Yes, Joshua Davis says that your audio levels are tad quiet.
Okay.
So could you please do something about that?
Okay.
I think you screamed. Just a light scream.
Okay, is it better now? Maybe it's better.
I'll wait
very
for
quiet for me. Yeah, orphans. Ask him to yell.
It seems like it's not just orphan though. Someone Joshua is also saying that.
It's the same apparently, so maybe you can push it on Discord. Can you do that?
Maybe. I'm going to... Yeah, that would probably take a lot of time. I'm going to speak more closely to the microphone. Maybe that helps.
Yeah, project.
Do ASMR, please.
No. But yeah, overall, 2 weeks after quitting college, my main client that was bringing me consistent work for 6 months, he had a personal problem, a really serious personal problem, and he said dude, I won't be bringing you any projects anymore. Probably I need a year break before bringing you something else. And I was like, Jesus Christ. I just decided on probably the most important aspects of my life at that point. Okay, let's quit college and pursue art full time, and then my main source of income disappears. So I had a safety net enough for a couple of months, as Blake said, that's essential pretty much. But then it's on your mental health. That was terrible. I was doubting myself left and right. Oh my God, did I do the right choice? But yeah, so that's super common. And what Adam said, that okay, let's focus on this week. It really helps, because as you focus on a specific project, you kind of let go of the macro. Okay, maybe it's not a good decision right now, but I don't know if that makes any sense. But focusing on smaller things, it helps you go through those times. Is my audio better?
I don't know about you guys, but for myself, because I'm a born and raised procrastinator my entire life. So I'm always having to trick and gamify my life to do anything, literally anything. And my big thing is I do to-do lists, and I start with, I know early in the morning when I first wake up, I'm not going to be annoyed to do business related stuff like emails, etc. And I block out 2 hours with time stamps of I will answer a single email by this time. I will answer another single email by this time. And then it's just that slow gratification of physically checking off something and getting that dopamine boost of feeling productive, even though it's the most elementary school mind hack you can do. And by 10 a.m. usually my time, because I typically start my day pretty early at 7 a.m., I'm able to usually just go straight into only designing for the rest of the day, which is much easier for me to encourage myself to do. And so I feel also whether you're stressed or you're overwhelmed, because I do this when I have anxiety episodes too, having just really small gamified little ways of tricking yourself into that kind of chore chart, so to speak, that it really can help you just get through it, because it is everyone has great days, everyone has bad days, but to build in a routine where you have that safety net of being able to be like, oh, it's a crappy day, I didn't plan for it, but it's just I have the motions and I know how to go through the motions and it's going to be fine. And then you can still get that little bit of a happiness boost from knocking things out.
Yeah, as Jason says in the chat, like list with little goals is such a good way to trick your brain into finishing tasks.
I have a little like notebook with all the things that I need to do.
So great. And it's also great. It's also great for crediting yourself for doing things, because I mentioned this a lot, but you know that sometimes we just feel like we didn't do much in the day, but we actually did. Like we did a lot. And the fact, because we just feel like achievements in general are made out of just like big events and just big drops, and
we all have our list.
Everyone has their way of displaying their task. Mine is on my calendar. I cannot show it.
Nice. Yeah.
But like the very fact that the calendar has like on the MacBook, if you're familiar with that, it has just tiny squares. So if you want to see all of them, there's like maybe 4 or 5 that fits like into the little square, and after that you have to deploy the list. So you just keep like just basically 5 or 4 tasks per day. So it just fits into that square, and if I do that, it's already a lot, like for me. And it's just like basic points, but it's just a thing to trick your mind and just feel like you're being productive every single day. And
there's
just
even if you're like a super psycho, and I mean this in the most loving of ways because I love this person, but G-Monk did a talk that I had the fortune to see, I think at Adobe Max a few years ago, and he showed his calendar, and it's the most cursed thing you could ever witness. But it was super color coded and extremely full. Like at first impression, you're like, this man does not sleep and lives off caffeine. But it was really cool because for him, he was like, I also, to keep my routine and to keep myself accountable, I also write in when I'm going to have a fun day, and not just a fun day, but I say, is it a physical activity fun day? Is it this or that? And it was just really fascinating to see someone so well articulated in like such a meticulous schedule to where even their fun time was accounted for, but it was a whole day. So it looks crazy, but then you look and it's like, oh, this is just a normal Saturday, but they're holding themselves accountable to be like, I will find a way to not work this day because it's not in my calendar. And it's like, I like that. I like that respect of the work-life balance when it comes to being so overly structured. It's a little too much for me, but I respect the hustle there.
I think it's like, especially because coming from like a day job, you kind of, it's easy to say no to things, you know, like, because I said, obviously, like I was working for a consulting company and I was covering India, Europe, and US at the same time. So there would be days where I would be up, you know, like for maybe 4 a.m. and I had some India catch-ups in the morning, and then I would have like a bit of a quiet mid-afternoon or mid-morning in the UK, and then I would cover US like from like 1 o'clock until maybe 8 p.m. in the UK. It's one of those things where I still could have been like, okay, you know, my one is 9 till 5. My boss was okay if I say no. If you know, if the meeting, they rarely would. I mean, I think maybe in my 4 years in the consulting, I had a couple of meetings that were out of my calendar, like very like in a weird times, you know, like at midnight or something because someone was in Australia or some other place. But so it was easy for me to say, okay, this is my working day, you know, this is where I end, and then I could, you know, we would go walk the dogs, do whatever, and then from 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. I would go and sit my own, you know, do my own stuff at night. Just kind of, you know, try to do something out of my own art. The issue with like working for yourself and like NFTs and kind of freelance work is that you don't really tend to have that break often. You don't go, okay, you know, I'm done for the day, because you kind of go, well, I'm not getting paid if I'm not finishing stuff. I might as well finish it, you know. So you kind of try to go, let me just get through this. You know, you go, because I had this thing where I'm like, I might as well just do it. It's already open, you know? It's like, why not? And then you kind of keep going. And before you go, you're like, oh shit, it's 4 a.m. again. Okay. And then it's like, and then the next day you go like, oh no, tonight, I mean, 2 a.m. max, I'm done, you know? Oh, it's 4 a.m. again. And you keep doing this every night because you kind of want to just get it out, because you're like, okay, if I get it out, then maybe, you know, let me just get this out. Maybe I get paid and this can be sent out an invoice and all that stuff, right? So there's a bit of that which I'm still kind of learning, which is like, this is your day of work as any other day of work, and it's okay to at one point say, this is enough for tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm like a big video gamer. I play video games since I was like 7 or 8. So I play video games for like 33 years now. And the last year or so was the least of video games that I played in my whole life.
Tisk. There's so many good games out. Why you do that?
Yeah, it's so bad though. Like I got like the Mass Effect remastered, and I played maybe like a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Because obviously between this and I have my Switch, I'm like, I have it like normally I'll be like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, let me have an hour. I'll play this, and I'm like, I can send those emails now instead of playing, And then you kind of catch up on that thing where you really don't enjoy anything anymore because you're like, it's like with my wife, we like watch some Netflix and stuff, and I was like, gosh, I could have sent that email. Damn it, And it's like, and I'm still learning how to kind of say no to myself, to stop working for a second and be like, okay, it's okay.
Yeah,
and
we're
obviously, like,
natural with your transition.
Go ahead.
I think it is a very natural transition to have to learn to make your own hours in that space and to build your own boundaries.
Yeah.
I feel like most of the times sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I feel like sometimes we talk about the fact of saying no to things, but the very fact that you mentioned that you're saying no to yourself, and I feel like that's the right advice actually, because most of the time you're not actually saying no to someone. You just have to say no to yourself, because there's just like the person who puts pressure on you most of the time is yourself. Well, yes, of course, clients, they can put pressure on you because of deadlines, etc., but you're allowing that external pressure to get on you, and so it's all up to the power of your mind and how you're influenced by that. And so saying no to yourself is something difficult, because your mind it's just free. It wants it wants whatever it wants, and so it's difficult. And that's why just like planning that time where maybe 1 hour a day you say to yourself, I'm going to play Mass Effect. And I'm going, I need just as strongly as you would tell yourself to just reply to emails, then you will make a point to just say, I have to do 1 hour of Mass Effect. It's like one of my duty and obligations in life is to do that. I say that because I used to do that when I was in school. But before I graduated from graphic design school and master degree, etc., I just bought a Switch at the time because Breath of the Wild. And I was like so hyped. It was like Christmas. I got it at Christmas. Christmas time was like fine because that was like holidays, vacation, blah, blah. But when I came back at school in January and I had to do like to keep on writing my essay and just my thesis, etc., I just didn't play anymore. And it was like, I spent like so much money into a game console and I'm not even playing. That is ridiculous. So I have to play 1 hour of Breath of the Wild every single day because I need to just make my money worth it. And also it's going to do me great. So, that's a lot of positive advice. And so, and I love that about what you said about G-Monk as well, and like his technique of just writing down everything that is positive into his calendar, what is going to have to do on the weekends or something. And it's funny because it just made me notice that I do that as well, especially more and more as I try to take weekends off. Like I've been taking weekends off for like a month and a half already, or maybe 2 months. It's been weird. Like it's been weird to just postpone everything, just not answer emails. And I have to really say no to myself and just like shut down the email application, like close it, disconnect from emails. And that's something I would never do before. But drastic methods, because that's what you have to do if you want to take care of yourself. So great advice in my opinion.
I think
love it.
Regarding like video games, it's really hard because we work on our computers. So like the time that you need to close a game, it double clicks in 4D, so like real damn fast. So for me, what's been working when it comes to video games is to either schedule a time with my friends, because most of them are programmers, like down here in Brazil. So they work 9 to 5, so it's pretty easy to schedule a time with them, because I kind of need to commit to someone to actually play the game. Because if it's just me playing by myself, I kind of close the game and double clicks in my 4D. It's always like that.
Same.
Right? Yeah. And another
I'll
thing,
take your
why-
work ethic. Jeez, I'm always Xing out of Cinema 40
Really?
and opening up Steam. Yeah, I'm ready.
because for me it's the same thing. Like you're playing the game, but you actually feel that you need to be working, right? Just
Yes.
like Adam said. And another thing that kind of worked, it's VR. Like because of the room that my computer is, I need to kind of set the things around to have more space for VR. So like it's way too much work not to play a full hour, for example. I'm not setting up my VR headset to play like 30 minutes. So it's actually a good excuse per se to actually play more time and have more time off. Since I've already like pushed the sofa and everything else, might as well play some more time, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like
to piggyback off of what Fesk was saying, that with the computer of like exit out of one, open the other, I do find it increasingly hard to play where I work. And I live in a 2-bedroom apartment. One of the bedrooms is a studio. The other areas are all for living, non-work life. And it is a thing where whether it's watching a movie, even if it's one I've downloaded and I should watch on the computer, I'll HDMI or travel that shit out to the living room. Like if I want to play a game and it's mobile friendly, or if it can be ported to the Switch, I'm going to go play it out there. Like I do not like to do anything recreational where I work anymore. And I used to not be bothered by it, but I think, you just have this long of a year, especially if you were stuck inside like 98% of the world, that you can't just keep doing everything in the same spot, because it's just mentally you're not fully unplugging, or you're not fully plugging in, one or the other. So it's like if I do play where I work one night, I can already tell the next day my work is going to be more sluggish because I didn't get that disconnect physically from where I work. And I think that that's really important if you're able to build in those boundaries on a physical level.
And also, oh, sorry, Adam, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying I didn't think about it like that until I was kind of doing this new kind of way of like working and stuff. But it's true. Like I would like pick a kind of lesser version of this game on a Switch so I can not play it in that room and I can leave the room. Like I literally, and I got the NVIDIA Shield set up as well, so I could play games downstairs. Like so I wouldn't sit in the room again. And now they showed the Steam Deck. I was like, yes. I can play the Steam games.
I was about to mention that. I was about to say, like, this is why I pre-ordered the Steam Deck, because
I want to play those games, but I don't want to sit there anymore. I want to sit somewhere else.
Because I'm gonna play in my bed. Like I'm not playing there. I was about to say because not a lot of people have a lot of space as well. In terms of flat or just house in general. Like, for example, I myself have like 30 meters square as my whole flat. So it's not a lot of just space in general. I have like one bedroom, and then this is my workspace and living space in general. So you would say that it's difficult to just find a spot for you to just have that non-technology, non-work safe space, but you kind of do that in the way you feel more comfortable to. So maybe it would be like near your window, and you can have like a nice little chill spot that you do, and you throw some pillows on the floor and just have like a nice blanket or something, or could be just like in your bathroom, or I don't know, but you have to make that safe space and safe place that has no technology, or just like the technology you're comfortable with. Like let's say like the Switch you're comfortable with because you have no notifications on there, or something that you're just like really disconnecting and getting into another world, or just having an escape like a book or something. There's always room to do that, even in tiny spaces. And you can also get creative just imagining that space for you in your own house. And I feel like it's a nice thing to do because it just helps you to want to be there, just setting up everything nicely, decorating it, or anyways, I don't know. I feel like it's more exciting just like thinking about it and not being on your computer every single night. But I do, unfortunately.
I mean, it's been a weird year for all of us because, you know, you take away the pandemic and then like Adam had mentioned, like NFT craze, life-changing moments happen because of that, et cetera, et cetera. It's all of these things amount to just naturally, if you're any form of not the most agoraphobic human on the planet, you're going to be more online than ever before, because that's just how it was set up to be. Like, that's the only way we all pretty much stayed sane, found camaraderie or XYZ, unless you're in some, I don't know, TikTok mansion, in which case congrats to you and your success. But no, so it's also, I think, a thing to also go easy on oneself and to be like, okay, be conscientious, see the shortcomings or see the roadblocks, but also be like, nothing in the past 12 months was normal. And it's not even 12 months now, it's much more. And so it's like to remember that this whole craze for digital artists and their careers, this whole phase for wherever you are in your life, whether that's on a personal level or professional level, none of it is normal. So it's just to survive and get through that survivalism mode, and then try to build in these healthy habits as the light at the end of the tunnel is slowly popping out.
Totally.
Because I feel like being too hard on yourself, I mean, me speaking at least for myself, every time I was like, oh, like I'm ready now, I'm going to just snap back to who I was like a year and a half ago. Then all of a sudden I'm on like a bender of just like watching sports, yelling at my TV, sipping beer, angry on my Nintendo Switch. And it's like, no, like I could have just been easy on myself, realized that I need to like slowly step back into being a civilized human being and not online 24/7 and get back into that groove.
Yeah.
And also that, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Fesca. I was about to ask you how you're feeling, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I actually never talked about it. But yeah, I wanted to ask a question because it's partially like what I'm feeling right now. COVID situation down here in Brazil has been terrible, like since the beginning, right? So it's been pretty much a year and a half that I left my house like 10 times in like a year and a half. It's really damn crazy, especially because like I've lost people that are like kind of close to me, and I know people that lost a lot of people. So it's really damn scary, especially down here. And right now, like next week, I got a job opportunity on Uruguay. It's another country. I need to fly to Uruguay. So I'm partially excited and I'm partially scared as fuck because like all the interaction and everything else that I'm not used to do anymore, you know? So I wonder like for you guys, like since I don't know, depending on the country, like how it's been, but since you guys are trying more and more to actually go back to normal, how have you been dealing with that? Because for me, it's pretty much scary. It's scary and it is exciting to try at least.
I mean, the United States has been really blessed if you want a vaccine. Unfortunately, we have a lot of people who don't, which is really cute. But so with that, I mean, I'm fully vaccinated. Everyone in my circle has been fully vaccinated. And it was a huge mental relief almost immediately. Like even with the first stabbing, it was like, oh, I have to learn how to not drool in a mask anymore. Like people will slowly see my face again one day. Like it's going to happen. But it is weird. Body language hasn't totally come back to normal for me. I used to be like a side hugger, a high fiver, and now I'm just like, hi. And I like back away from people when I greet them because I don't know how to be appropriate there. But I mean, as a whole, it's almost like muscle memory for me, at least, where it's surprising. It almost felt like a month out of the worst of it, you know, after most people in my area got vaccinated, and we still have masks, like you have to have them indoor, outdoor, etc. Like we're still pretty strict on that in LA. But it's really crazy. I was talking with my neighbors and partner that we were like, we almost felt like we got collective amnesia because I thought it was just me at first, and it really blew my mind. I've started forgetting the past year, and I don't know if it's a PTSD thing. I've also lost folks, and condolences. It's shitty. I wish it on no one. But it is a thing where I've almost, like the last year went from being, how was this a year and 2 or 3 months, to all of a sudden I'm like, was this a long, shitty spring break? Like, I don't know. So I can't say how other people react to it, but it's really weird on how I was surprised at how quick I could go back to normal and how much I've almost just been like mentally blacking out a lot of what has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go
Adam,
ahead.
you might. No, I was about to say Adam might have also some insight on that aspect of just moving out in a new country into the midst of a pandemic and just like all of this. This is I'm actually really sorry for you as well. I know this has been terrible for a lot of us, for Fesk, for Blake, for Adam, and for myself as well. So I'm just really sorry for everyone, but I'm grateful to have you here and just talking about those things. So go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny though, because they're like one of the things that Blake was saying, which I thought about, which was, I remember reading, I think it was Richard Dawkins that said like, we really remember events and they kind of register in our brain as spikes. And because the pandemic was kind of lack of spikes in most cases, right? Like your daily routine was almost every day the same. You would kind of do the same. You would probably eat something similar or maybe some other takeaway, and then you would probably do the same kind of work. And it kind of, for me at least, it felt like a spring break, not a year and a half of staying home. I was like, yeah. And I remember with my wife, we were like, oh wow, it's a year now, because we were in Boston in March, before that whole thing kicked off and they closed the borders and stuff. We were literally flying back. We were in Boston and New Jersey because we were looking for a house to move to US originally. And I was like, no way, that's like a year and a half. Like it felt like 5 months, 4 months maybe. We were just there, and now it's like Christmas, and like what's happening? It was bizarre. Yeah. The working from home itself wasn't really maybe as big for me because I worked from home for the past 5 years. So I was kind of already used to like, being at my desk, doing stuff the same way. And especially in London, it's kind of weird though, because if you're if you're not maybe originally from London, like I moved there like 20 years ago, you don't necessarily have like maybe like deep ties everywhere. Like you have some friends here, there's someone there, but because everyone is kind of like an expat style friend, or they moved in or whatever happened, people at some point eventually move out, or they move to a different country, or they move on, they do different things, right? So I have a few friends there, but it never felt like, okay, I can't see them now, because I wouldn't see them anyway, because we will be across the city, and getting across London is a nightmare. So it kind of affects you. So it's kind of like you don't really like, for me, it was like I was like, it's not all that different. But then what happened was like I lost my mom in May, April last year, and it was nothing to do with COVID. She had a heart condition for a very long time. But I couldn't go to the funeral as well, which was the hardest part. And then, so so in between, they have those lockdown in the UK. In between that, I was able to like go see my sister, see my mom's grave, and then kind of spend some time with my nephew. But it was just like one of those, again, like almost like a dream within a dream. You come back, and then they lock down the borders again, and they went on the, the red list, whatever they have those countries on. And I was like, okay, so we're back to where we are. It's like a break for like a week, right? So, but then, just in the UK now, recently, I think it was almost like surreal normal, like it's like Greg was saying, like, because we both have double vaccination as well, and they have a very high rate of vaccinating. So in general, like I think everyone we knew was also vaccinated, right? But at the same time, nothing was really back to normal. Like it's still kind of, you still have the masks. Half of the places don't let you indoors, like all that stuff that you have to kind of maybe take food out, or you have to eat outside, which in the UK is not like amazing thing to do with plus 15 and rain, So that's why we're here. But it was kind of bizarre. And then here it's a bit weird though, because it seems to be like the law itself is way more strict. You have to have a mask even on the street at all times, which in the UK it's not the case. And then kind of everywhere you go in some restaurants, they will ask you to show the proof of double vaccination as well if you want to eat indoors. Especially like they have this thing where from Friday until Sunday they close certain parts of the city to like for people to enjoy, so they close the traffic and stuff. And most restaurants would ask you to show the vaccination and the test being negative as well. So we have both. For the flight, BA actually required the double vaccination, and you have to get this 24-hour test that that you have no symptoms as well. Because I think they don't really believe, not everyone acknowledges the test equally, so they just you have to have every test possible so they could let you fly out. But it was a bit bizarre. And then here, apart from that, I think the other thing is, I know on TV, with my kind of partial Portuguese, is that there's a big rise of cases again for that new variant that they have. So they're really worried. Yeah. So they actually had there was a big thing at the airport as well, because I think there's so many new cases that the workers were protesting and they closed the airport for a day. So we met like a lot of German tourists that couldn't kind of go back or fly back, and they were saying that basically the staff on the airport was refused to work because they say they don't feel safe enough to work with that new virus. If we literally got here like on Thursday, and then they closed the airport on Saturday, so we were lucky again that we were able to get in before the whole thing. Obviously, with I was like, let my PC just come through because it's still the box is coming. So I was like, hopefully that's gonna come through fine. But I mean, thanks, Carlos, for the weed, because I don't know how we would make it. I was like, geez,
Yeah, it's absolutely traumatizing. Like to have to travel and change life and change city and country and job, and there's so much stuff that's already so stressful, and then you have to top it off with a pandemic, and you're just like, that's a lot. It's just the cherry on top of the pot,
a minor inconvenient pandemic.
But it's so bizarre, like also like from the UK, we were kind of joking because you said like everything in the UK is instant. If you like a place that's so organized, and like there's a lot of things you can say negative about British people, but they are organized, and it's like. So when you go to a place, everything's done like in order. It's you get there on time. It runs smoothly. You go online, a website to do something, it works, right? And you forget if you go to like Portugal, and this is not a complaint. This is on me. Like, not everyone speaks English, and it's really hard, and it's hard to explain because they give you a form that has like 2 fields to fill out, but you have no idea what they say, and you Google them, and each translation says something completely different, and you're so I put and I was like, okay. And then you ask someone, and there's like a lot of young people. I'm like, like, and then no one speaks English. I was like, that's bizarre, because in my head, you kind of think like everyone speaks English everywhere, right? Because you're online all day, everyone speaks English, but obviously you forget that you're dealing with people that are into the same things that you are. So obviously, naturally, they speak English, right? But I always feel like the fact that people here are so calm and patient with us, because the amount of Googling I have to do on my phone to say something in places, it's amazing.
No, but it's actually really, really true, and I feel like people kind of helped everyone like as much as they could throughout the pandemic, and I hope that it just stays a bit like that, and that we have this kind of mutual help going on. But has to answer to recenter on Fesk's situation and just your question in general about like Uruguay and moving there and having new opportunities, etc. I know it has been stressing you out. I might understand why, because that's like so different from everything and there's something so scary about the things we don't know about. And when it's scary, your response to that situation might be anxiety, but also it can be just angriness, fear, just so many mixed feelings all at once. But at the end of the day, you have to see the opportunities that you feel like are convenient for you, and the opportunities that makes you feel comfortable into your future goal as well, because it's all about just remembering yourself about what your basic goal was, or your first aim as an artist was when you started, or if you had one, or if you even didn't ask yourself that question, then maybe it's the time to do so. There is always something that shape shifts through the years, and so maybe going to Uruguay is going to help you get closer to that goal. or maybe you will see some opportunities there. But on the really sorry.
No, just to be clear, like the opportunity is amazing. It's just a really quick travel. The thing that it's bugging me off is that I don't feel prepared to actually like hop on a plane and like, I don't know, because even when I have to, like, I was working on my European passport this past few weeks because my family's from Portugal as well. So, like, the fact that I needed to go to the, I don't know, the embassy, the Portuguese embassy, and everything was so clean, no one was touching anything. I was like, Jesus Christ, I cannot. It feels like I was going into a trap or something like that. Like, I was absolutely still and stuff like that. So,
get a thick-ass mask. Antibacteria, your whole body.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's going to be.
I've gone on a couple flights and was not thrilled, and you'll be okay. Like just antibacteria, everything. Don't touch your face. Wear those medical masks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but it's
I understand
that. A 10-hour flight. So I don't know.
It's really stressful. When I got like into the plane for Canada when the border closed and the case were raising, and like being at an airport was like the baddest idea ever, basically, because like airports are like, I don't know, homes for bacteria and viruses and just like everything together. And it was like, this is now or never, it's going to be one time. I'm not going to do that again. So I'm going to go there, be prepared. And I am anxious, like next level anxious. Like I had all of the wipes. I've been wiping my seat every single 2 hours. Don't know why, but I've done that. I didn't have a mask because like things were starting off, so we weren't allowed to have a mask either. So I have a bandana on my mouth, and then I sat, and we had to sat like in between people. I don't know if that's still the case right now, or if there's like there's like spare seats in between people now in planes, but we had to sit like with other people. And so I was like, I just asked the people with me if they wanted to wipe their seat as well, just if you want to do that, that would be great.
Yeah.
So there's so many things you can just do for that. And then you have to think about all the things that awaits you there. And one of the things that is comforting for me whenever I travel, and I feel like far from home, and I feel anxious, and I feel like I don't have any strong things to attach myself to, and just like I feel like my mind is shuddering. I just always think about having my safe space, and sometimes when I'm traveling, it's like my computer, because my computer it's like something that I brought from my previous home to my new home. It has it's also my home as well. My computer is my home, and sometimes it's a blessing and a curse. But being on there can just sometimes helps you just like calm down. You have your own comfort zone with your emails and whatnot, and your clients and your community and your Twitter and whatnot. So I feel like you have to hang on those things, and perhaps try to ignore the outside context and like physical environment you're into, whether it's a plane or a new house or something. You have to get those artifacts that bring you joy and comfort. And I feel like that's really important. But if you feel like this is a great opportunity for you, I feel like you should seize it, and you're going to be you're going to be just fine. I mean, there's so little chances for you to not be fine. Like,
if you're responsible, you should really truly be fine.
I hope so.
You've been putting so much effort on just like being safe and just restricting yourself, etc., that I feel like karma, it will take care of you. I know that karma I know it's a bit of a tricky concept, but I feel like you did your part, and you're going to be just fine. And if not, then you don't have to worry either. Like we are so much ahead of where we were like at the beginning. Now there's so much more we know about the virus in general. So just be more at ease with that, and just don't take decisions because of that.
Just don't
feel
just don't put your hands on your face. That's just about it.
Exactly. But even if there's no COVID, just don't put your hands on your face, because
hindsight never knew how gross that was, and now I
you
know.
have pimples.
Crazy.
Like,
I know.
what
I've been
monsters
doing
were
that
we?
like for all the stream. I've been like that, but I swear I washed my hands before. So
Yeah.
it's fine. I promise. But okay, guys, we've been running out of time already.
That was
Oh yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
It's been an hour already, and I feel like it's been like, I don't know, 2 minutes. But
I know, for real.
it's so quick every single time. It's so quick, but because I just love that we end up talking about none of the things we wanted to talk, and every time it's like that, and I'm all for it because I feel like it's just a genuine conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm so
Absolutely.
happy to just have heard everyone's insight. If anyone in the chat, by the way, before we close up the stream, has like a question or wants to add something, just feel free to do so. But optional prompts. love these talks. Yay!
Love
Thank
it.
you. No, it was amazing. I'm just really, really happy, as I was saying in the beginning, to just have like so many eclectic people coming into this chat. It's just amazing. And you know, even if we're just talking about COVID and it's like NFTs or really just mental health related or something, I feel like it's genuine, and I feel like that's what we are seeking with those conversations. It's is real connections, basically, and just feeling more connected to others, and just like having that space to talk to someone, because sometimes you just cannot talk to people because you're just caught up in your routine and you just forget about yourself. You just forget about yourself, about others, about your feelings, and you just dismiss those things. And I feel like it's important to have those conversations. So thank you so much for coming tonight. I feel like it was amazing, and I just love having my friends and meeting new friends, and just it's amazing.
Thanks for hosting us. You're a natural. You're ready for your radio show.
I mean,
For sure.
it's tricky for me because I've always been such an intense talker, not stalker. Really. But you see, like in English, like I'm French, so basically saying words in English just is really difficult for me, because I mean, I'm trying, but whenever I speak really fast, I just miss pronunciation, and then everyone makes fun of me whenever I do Pokemon streams. Like everyone have fun on me because I'm just saying words so weirdly, and
no one can pronounce the new Pokemon names. That shit went wild. They got too creative.
100%.
They broke the vocabulary.
it's not even Pokemon
No one can
anymore.
pronounce that shit. Yeah, they went from Pikachu to too many. I don't know.
From Pikachu to toothbrush or something. I don't
So
know.
the
It's
garbage
just like,
ice cream sandcastle cone thing. I don't know. There's too many of them now.
right, isn't it? So
Yeah.
it's just difficult, and it's not easy for French people. Okay, we're trying our best, and I am trying my best. But the fact is that when I was like in school or just like in France in general, I had that just like natural ability to just speak in my language, and I must now do that in another language, and it's difficult because I don't feel like it flows in the same way, but I'm trying. So you just bear with
100%.
You just bear with me when I'm trying to do that and try to convey the same energy in a different language, which is difficult. But I appreciate everyone taking the time to just support me and just listen to my ramble. Thank you.
That's
You're
okay.
great.
We got Color Eclipse teaching us about the new Pokemon names now, so we're good.
Yeah, I like in the Heal the Deal Discord, we only have like mods that just are Pokemon addicts or just like gamers. So there's that. But love it. Thank you. So okay, everyone, thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Color Eclipse Art, our mod and beloved daddy into the Heal the Deal Discord. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Orphan, Kyle, Jason, Vad, everyone in the chat. I love seeing you guys around every 2 weeks. And thank you, Fest, thank you, Blake, and thank you, Adam, for your insight and your energy and your beautiful words. I just love you so much. I have so much love for all of my friends in this community. So thank you.
Likewise.
And yeah, so catch us in 2 weeks for actually the real fourth stream and not the third one. I will make sure to just remember that. And then we will meet you in another live or another tweet or something. And in the meantime, wear SPF, drink water, and all of that jazz.
Yeah,
and take
all
care.
that.
absolutely. Okay.
Woo!
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.